to you today. Satan trying to come with myself, what you made for me. And oh, I just can't let him in. I know you fight until the end for me. Endure till the end. My brother, my sister. I know you might be going through it today. Till the end. My brother, my sister.
I know in my heart I want to be for you. I pray that temptation never come through. I know that you just love me for me. When I have people judge me, I forgive and do till the end. My brother till the end. My sister and endure till the end. Keep on
Yahuah listens. He's always there. When I call, when I call, when I call.
Always remember Psalm 20, verse 4 through 9. He does give you according to your heart and fills all your plans. We sing our deliverance in the name of our Elohim. We set up a banner, Yahuah, till all your requests. Now I know that Yahuah shall face you behind you. He answers him from his set apart Shemayim with the saving light of his right hand. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we remember the name of Yahuah our Elohim. They have bowed down and fallen, but we have risen and are established. Save Yahuah. Let the Sovereign answer us in the day we call.
If you write anything on your computer, you need to get Grammarly.
I write pretty much all day, every day, and Grammarly makes my writing better.
עת ללדת ועת למות, עת לטעת ועת לעקור, עת לאור ועת לרפוא, עת לפרוץ ועת לבנות, בזמן המתאים ברגע הנכון יש פתרון. בזמן המתאים ברגע הנכון יש פתרון. עת לבקש ועת לאבד, עת לשמור ועת להשליך, עת לקרוע ועת לתפור, עת לחשוב ועת לדבר, בזמן המתאים ברגע הנכון יש פתרון. בזמן המתאים ברגע הנכון יש פתרון.
You are the branch, you are the bridegroom, you are the teacher, you are our healer, you are worthy to be praised. There is none like you, none like you. Yahuah, you reign. There is none like you, none like you. There is none like you, none like you. Yahusha, you reign. You're my deliverer, the bread of life, righteousness, you are the light. You are worthy to be praised. You are the morning star. Because of you, I'm nothing apart. You are worthy to be praised. There is none like you, none like you. There is none like you, none like you, no. Yahuah, you reign, yeah. There is none like you, no, 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 none like you, none like you. Yahusha, you reign. There is none like you, none like you, none like you, none like you. Yahusha, you reign, you reign. There is none like you, none like you, there is none like you, none like you. Yahusha, you reign. Yahusha, you reign.
Better days are coming, my sisters and brothers, just hold on. Better days are coming, my brothers and sisters, you have faith and strong. When the world will see and know what righteous light. No more fuss, me say, no more fight. I'm on no set, better days will be coming. No more wickedness or bad vibing. Before this in a righteousness, man have to be standing. Strictly peace and love, ever flowing melodies. I man see a better world when all the wicked them gone. When the innocent them can no longer harm. A time when every small the heart just warm. Pure calm of niceness, no storm. We all need to work towards this. And I let any politician give we any this. We all need to work towards this. And I make any politician give we any this. Mongers with the devil them flirt. The innocent them always try to hurt. Them need them military advancing and start the hungry belly feeding. The truth they should be seeking. Praises to the Most High they should be given. Those who know the truth know of what I'm talking. Ye who seek the light know of what I'm shouting. Better light. Blessed are those that mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see the Most High. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of Yah, the Most High. Better days, you know? Sure. Yeah, man. Better days, you know? See?
Yahuah, I want to say shalom to you all, Mashpaka, and welcome back to yet another Foundational Facts Fellowship. Excited to be here with you this evening, and I'm truly thankful to be able to see each and every one of you once again, to know that Yahuah has kept us and has brought us safely together once again. And so may Yahuah Barak this time on this evening. May he Barak his word. May he Barak our hearts, our lab. May he continue to have his way in our lives, continue to perfect us and to make us more and more set apart and likened unto him. And so before we go any further, we're going to open up in prayer, family. I want to say shalom to each and every one of you. It is indeed a delight to be here. We're going to open up in prayer, and then I'm going to come back and greet everybody. And after that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. Okay, so we have a subject matter for this evening. There was a question posted on the board. I actually did not see it, but thankfully Keith was kind enough to send it over to me. It was some very important questions, and so I'm truly appreciative that he had the presence of mind to do that, and that we can take a look at this on this evening. But I'll introduce the subject matter for this evening once we come back from prayer. And so let us turn our faces toward the set apart place of Yahuah, as he tells us, when we find ourselves scattered in the lands of our captivity, If his people, if we would turn our faces toward the place that he has chosen, the appointed place of Yahuah, which is to look toward the east, which is looking toward Jerusalem, not looking toward the sun or to anything else or to anyone else, but looking toward the set apart place of Yahuah, the place that he contracted with Shalomah. That if his people should disobey and should find themselves scattered to the corners of the earth, but if they would turn and if they would look to that place and they would cry out to Yahuah, then Yahuah promised that he would hear their cry and that he would heal them and that he would restore them to their land. And so we turn our faces this evening toward the set apart place of Yahuah as we come before him, asking him to feed us from his word. Halal hu Yahuah. Abba Yahuah, we give you thanks and praise because truly there is none like you. We barak your great name on this evening, Father, and we pray that you will continue to have your way in our lives. We pray, Yahuah, that we would be strengthened in you, Father. We pray that you would just continue to make every crooked path straight, Yahuah. Father, help us to be thankful unto you, Father. Help us, Yahuah, never to be ungrateful, but ever giving thanks to you for all that you do. Let us not take none of your kindness and none of your great mercies, Yahuah, for granted, but may we be thankful always, Father. May we continue to seek for you with our whole heart. We pray, Yahuah, that you would barak this time, that you would barak every family represented here on this evening, and even our family who was unable to join us on this evening for whatever reason. We pray, Yahuah, that you would continue to barak your people, continue to protect your people. Father, continue to provide for your people and continue to heal your people. Yahuah, I pray that you would prepare a table for us, even in the wilderness. I pray that you would anoint our heads with oil and that you would cause our cups to overflow. Help us, Yahuah, to raise our voices to you in praise and in thanksgiving, and to barak your name always, because your name is set apart. And so, Yahuah, we give you praise, honor, and esteem. We thank and praise you for this time. Have your way on this evening, and may we be rejuvenated in your word, be made excited by it, Father, and be set on fire once again. Halal hu Yahuah. Do this, we pray, in Yahusha's name. Amen. Praise is to Yahuah.
What you say, Brian?
Halal Yahuah.
Brian, what did you say? Oh, really?
We give Yahuah praise, honor, and esteem. I want to say shalom. Great to hear you, Akut Sharia. Shalom to you, Akut, and also to the family. I want to say also shalom to Akut Adelaide. Wonderful to see you as always, Akut. Also want to say shalom to my Aki, Al Yahu. I love it, Aki. Shalom to you, Aki. Also to Akut Joan, I say shalom. Greetings to you, family, in the name of Yahuah. On this evening, to my Aki Keith, I greet you, Aki, in Yahuah's great name. To Akut Mahalia, shalom to you, Akut Mahalia. Wonderful to see you as always. And to Akut Vernice, it is wonderful to see you, Akut, as always. And to my Aki Matatyahu, shalom to you, Aki. Wonderful to see you. Great to see you, Aki, indeed. And also to my Aki Damon, I say shalom to you, Aki. Turning our attention to YouTube here for a moment while we greet the family on YouTube, and as we do that, not forgetting the family on Facebook. To my brother in over there in Jamaica, he might be listening right now. I just want to say big up, Chaddy. Shalom to you, my brother, and to whoever listening on Facebook, I just want to greet you all on this evening in Yahuah's great name. Let me get to YouTube here so I can greet the family. I see my Aki Azaryahu. Wonderful to see you, Aki. Big up all the way over there, so in the other part of the Caribbean. Shalom to you, Aki. Great to see you. And also to Akut G, I say shalom to you on this evening. Aki Yahakab, Akut Sharia. Shalom to you, family. Wonderful to see each and every one of you. And also, who else is here on YouTube? I know that everybody listening, their names are not represented. To Aki King Ed and to Akut Anitra, I want to say shalom to you all, family. Just wonderful to see each and every one. Those of you whose names are not represented on the screen, I want to say shalom to each and every one of you. If your name's not on the screen, if you haven't typed anything, then I don't know exactly who's there, but I want to say shalom to each and every one of you. And to our listeners, to those who listen to us from around the world, wherever you listen to us from, anywhere from Australia to South Africa, to Russia, to China, because people literally do listen from all of those countries, all over the world. We want to say shalom to you all. Greetings to you in the name of Yahuah on this evening. Respect, my brother. All right, so we're going to get started. On this evening, we're taking on a particular subject matter. I'm going to read the question that was posted. This is a question, well, it's a few questions actually, but these questions were posted yesterday by Aki Yahakab and Akut Sharia, just as we were closing out yesterday, and I did not see the questions, and so I did not acknowledge. That's why I didn't acknowledge, because I didn't see them. But I'm thankful that Aki Keith was able to preserve them for foundational facts today. And so I want to say to the Rabbah once again, Aki, for doing so. By the way, let me just take a peek at see if I can figure out, bear with me here, I got to figure out the Zoom chat. Give me just a second. All right, yes, so to the Rabbah Aki for preserving the questions. So here we go. I'm going to read the questions, family. They're very important questions. They're questions nonetheless. It's a subject matter nonetheless that is often misrepresented by a lot of people, you see. So we're going to read the questions, and then we're going to go to the scriptures. We're going to allow the scriptures to answer the questions for us, right? So our Mashpaka wrote a few quick questions, reminders, Aki, as they came up this week. Okay, so these are some things that came up during the process of their week, Aki Yahakab and Akud Sharia. And they're very important questions, as I pointed out, and I'm glad that they brought them to the assembly. The first question is, what house is Kalab from? Kalab, who they call Caleb. Okay, what house is Kalab from? Is he a stranger from another nation whom Yahuah showed favor on? That's the first question. And question number 2, what do we say when people tell us Yashar'Al chapter 14 verses 1 and 2 means all strangers from other nations will be servants of Yahuah's chosen? Do we say yes, this is true, or no, this is not true? Verse 1 refers to strangers grafted in, and verse 2 refers to the wicked strangers, and this is during the 1,000-year reign. And that's the question. Next question, will any wicked be permitted to step foot in the set apart land, even as servants? All right, will any wicked be allowed to set foot in the set apart land, even as servants? All right, so those are the questions. So we're dealing with the question concerning Kalab. Who was he? Was he a natural born seed of Yashar'Al, or was he from another nation that Yahuah showed favor on? In other words, was he a stranger? Was he a foreigner grafted into Yashar'Al? Okay, so we're going to look at that question. We're also going to look at the question of Yashar'Al chapter 14 verses 1 and 2, because you see the scriptures tells us, family, that those who have enslaved us will be enslaved, and those who have ravaged us will be ravaged. Now, as I say that, I want to point out that you have people out there who teach that when the scripture talking about those who have ravaged us, those who have ravaged us will be ravaged, you have people out there who teach that ravage is talking about sexual exploitation. Okay, they teach that the word ravage means to rape. And what they teach is that the day is going to come when Yahuah is going to allow the men of Yashar'Al to rape the daughters of the strangers that have enslaved us all this time. That Yahuah is going to give the men of Yashar'Al the okay to just take them and do whatever we want to do with them, rape them and treat them badly. I'll tell you now, that's not what the scripture is talking about. The word ravage isn't talking about sexual aggression, but what Yahuah is talking about is humbling the wicked. You see, that the distresses that they have brought upon us will be brought upon them. But Yahuah doesn't expect for us to go raping anybody. You see, there is nothing in his word that validates that, and there is nothing in his word that supports that. These are just men who have some perverse, lustful desires, and they want to use the scriptures to justify that criminal behavior. But we're gonna get that out the way. Another thing I'll just address very quickly, and that is the question of, and we will see the answer to this as we go into the scriptures. But one of the questions, the last question on the list was, will any wicked be able to set foot or be permitted to set foot in the set apart land, even as servants? Now, the answer to that question is yes, there will be a time period where the wicked will be allowed to set foot in the land, because as a matter of fact, they will be moved and compelled to bring gifts to the people of Yahuah while they are in the land. And so there will be a time period when the wicked will be able to set foot in the land, but not to possess the land, simply to come as servants to the people of the set apart land. So there will be that time. But then there comes a time where the wicked will be no more, where the wicked is destroyed, and only Yahuah and his set apart people will live and reign forever, and there will be no more wicked. You see, so yes, there will be a time where the wicked will be allowed to set foot in the land, and they will serve the people of Yahuah. Now, again, some people say that the wicked is in reference to all strangers, but that's where we're going to let the scriptures speak to us on this evening. We're going to see what the scriptures have to say, and as we do so, truly may Yahuah open our eyes, our ears, and our hearts to what his written word says. May we not lean on our own understanding, but in all our ways, may Yahuah help us to acknowledge him. May he direct our path. So we're going to begin with the question of Kalab. Was he a homeborn son of Yashar'Al, or was he a stranger favored by Yahuah? Okay, was he a homeborn son of Yashar'Al, or was he a stranger favored by Yahuah? That is a very important question. That is a very important question. And as a matter of fact, as I prepare to answer that question, prepare to let the scriptures answer the question, I want to take a moment to look at something that Shaul says. You have a lot of people out there, Christians, the church. The church certainly do not have a clue as to what Shaul speaks about when he speaks. They have no clue whatsoever. There is not a Christian in church that understand anything that Shaul has to say. And you see, every Christian that I know, every Christian that I've encountered, have misrepresented the words of Shaul, and that's a fact. All right. Now, with the Christian aside, with the Christian out of the way, you have some other people who, because of what the Christians have to say that Shaul said, you have other people who, because of what the Christians have to say about what Shaul said, they, instead of studying for themselves, they get up and just proclaim that Shaul is a false teacher and that Shaul is a false prophet, not taking into consideration the fact that the translators have twisted the writings, not just the writings of Shaul, but they have messed with every piece of scripture there is. You see, the translators have done that. They have twisted the words of Shaul and others, and not only have the translators done that, but then you have the lawless Christians who have done the same. The lawless Christians. You see, Christianity is a religion of lawlessness. Christianity is in fact a religion of lawlessness. And any proud, honest Christian will tell you that. Okay? If they don't tell you exactly in the way that I just said it, they will tell it to you in a way that sounds more softer or more pretty. But there is no person that can tell you that the law is done away with and that person not be lawless. Anyone who says that the law is done away with is a lawless person. You see what I'm saying? Because if the law is done away with, it means that we are a lawless nation. We have no law. We are a nation less law. We are a society less law. We are a people less law. You see what I'm saying? So anybody who says that the law is done away with is a lawless person. Any religion that says that the law is done away with is a lawless religion. You see what I'm saying? Now, they don't want you to say it that way, and they do not want to be perceived that way. And so that's why in their translations, instead of talking about breaking the law, they change it and they use words like iniquity. Well, what does iniquity mean? Iniquity is not even a word found in the scriptural text, but they change it. They put words like that in there, like iniquity. You notice iniquity don't sound like it have anything to do with law. You see what I'm saying? Because they don't want to talk about the law. You see? The law is done away with, and let's keep it that way. And so they replace it with words that when you hear it, you don't think about law. You see what? But at the same time, you think that, oh, that is profound. You see, but in fact, it's not profound. You see, the scriptures tells us that it gives us the definition of sin, the definition of transgression. What is the definition of sin? The definition of sin is the breaking of the law, the transgressing of the law. So therefore, if there is no law, then there can be no sin. But yet Christianity loves to talk about sin, right? But if there is no law, how can there be sin? If there is no law, you're not breaking anything. There is nothing to break. So how can there be any sin, right? So now, I want to read something that Shaul has to say, though, because you see, Shaul is misunderstood, like I began to say. Shaul is misunderstood by the Christians. And he's also misunderstood by some other people. Some people who use the name Yahuah, some people who, say they're awake and whatever else. But Shaul is misunderstood by a lot of people. But here Shaul says something, and I want to go to it in the book of Romans here very quickly. Okay, in the book of Romans, I want to go to it very quickly. Let me just get that on the screen before we go any further. We're talking about Kalab, the stranger. This is a very important question. The question being whether or not Kalab was a natural born of Yashar'Al, or he was a stranger, a foreigner, grafted into Yashar'Al. That is the question. But before we answer that question directly, let's look at what Shaul has to say just for a moment here, and then we'll go a little bit deeper. In the book of Romans, Romans chapter Romans chapter 1 is what I'm looking for. Let me see. Romans chapter 2. Romans chapter 2, I think, is what I'm looking for. Romans chapter 2. Now, of course, the book of Romans is a very misunderstood book. We had actually started on this book a little while ago, and we covered a little bit, but we really need to finish it. But it's a very misunderstood book by Christians and others. Okay? But let me just go down here a little bit in Romans chapter 2. All right, Romans chapter 2. And let me resume screen share. As a matter of fact, let me make sure that you can see the scriptures, so bear with me. I got to get it on all the screens. Okay, everybody should be able to see it here. In Romans chapter 2, and verse 28, he says, Shaul said, "For he is not a Yahudi." If you're reading some of the other translations, he'll say he is not a Jew. We know that the word Jew don't belong there. This translation says Yahudite, but even that is not correct. The word is Yahudi. Y-A-H-U-D-Y, Yahudi. Okay? For he is not a Yahudi who is so outwardly, neither is circumcision that which is outward in the flesh. But a Yahudi is he who is so inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart, in spirit, not literally, whose praise is not from men, but from Elohim. Now, what Shaul is saying here is not saying that the natural seed is forgotten or is done away with, and now only the spiritual seed matters. That's not what Shaul is talking about. Because Shaul was talking to the natural seed of Yashar'Al. The problem is that this natural seed of Yashar'Al felt like they were good simply on the basis that they were the natural seed of Yashar'Al, and so therefore they needed not to worry about anything else. They needed not to worry about doing anything else as far as making sure that they are walking according to the right instructions of Yahuah. That didn't matter, because after all, I am the natural seed of Yashar'Al, and that's all that matters. I am the natural seed. That automatically puts me in the house. That is all that matters. I don't need to care about anything else. And that was the perception at this time that the people of Yashar'Al had. And so Shaul was correcting that perception. And he's letting them know that if you are dependent, simply dependent upon the fact that you are the natural seed of Yashar'Al, you're going to find yourself sadly disappointed, because that by itself and that in itself is not going to get you in the kingdom. It takes more than that. It takes obedience to the instructions of Yahuah. And so he says, that's why he says to them that you are not a Yahudi who is a Yahudi who is simply a Yahudi outwardly. You are not a Yahudi simply because you have the natural bloodline in you. You see, that in itself do not make you a Yahudi. You see, if you are a Yahudi, it means that you bear the name of Yahuah, and that's very serious and a very important thing. Again, like I said yesterday, the word Yahudah, that's what they corrupted and changed to Judah. And I'm going to write that if I can. But Yahudah, if you take out the D, If you take out the D, the dalat, then what you have is the name of the creator, Yahuah. Okay, so his people bear his name, but Shahul is saying to the natural seed, simply because you are of the natural seed, that in itself don't secure your place in the kingdom of Yahuah. You see, you simply having that outward appearance and that natural connection in itself is not good enough, and that's what Shahul was talking about. Now people criticize Shahul for saying that, okay, but you are a Yahudi after the condition of your heart. That's what make you a Yahudim. That's what make you Yashar'Al. So you can be of the natural seed of Yashar'Al, and naturally you are Yashar'Al because you have the natural seed of Yashar'Al. But what really matters is whether or not you are found to be of the spiritual house of Yashar'Al. That's what matters at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, 2/3 of the people who are of the natural seed of Yashar'Al will simply perish. 2/3 of the population of Yashar'Al will perish. 2/3. That means that only 1/3 of the population of Yashar'Al that has ever existed will actually make it in. Sobering thought. All right. So Shahul said that you are not a Yahudi who is one outwardly, who is simply one outwardly, but you got to be a Yahudi according to the Spirit. A very important point. That takes us now to Kalab, right? The matter of Kalab. Was Kalab of the natural seed of Yashar'Al, or was he from a strange nation, but grafted in by Yahuah and esteemed to a very prominent place in the nation of Yashar'Al? Let's look at the life for a little bit. Let's look at a few scriptures that deals with the life of Kalab, tells us about him. First and foremost, I'm not going to put it on the screen, but the Strong's number for the name Kalab is 3612. Okay, the Strong's number for the name Kalab is 3612. And what the name literally means dog. The name literally means dog. Okay, the name literally means dog. That's what Kalab means. Kalab means dog. Another definition for Kalab is, you could say, is an outsider, because that's one of the reasons why his name is dog. You see, even though we have come to a place in our culture where the place of the dog is in the house, that's not the way it's always been. You see, still, when you go to many places in the Caribbean or Eastern cultures, a dog's place is still outside the house. People don't bring dogs in their house. The dog is still outside the house. But we have come to a place in our culture where that is, in Western culture, it's different than in Eastern culture. So in Western culture, dog stays in the house. In Western culture. In Eastern cultures, you'll find that the dog is outside the house, and that's just the way it is. Okay? So the word dog literally means, the word Kalab literally means dog, and by extension it means outsider. Okay, that's what the name Kalab means, dog, and by extension outsider, one who dwells outside. Okay, you see, that is why, when you remember, when the Syro-Phoenician woman, who was a stranger, who was an outsider, when she came to Yahusha, Yahuah manifested in flesh, when she came to him seeking a miracle for her daughter, I believe it was, Yahusha turned and said to her, "Woman, is it right to take the children's bread and give it to the dogs?" Now this woman was amazingly humble, more humble than many people today are, because for some foreigners, strangers, today, and even people of the house walking in extreme pride, if you say such a thing to them, they're going to cuss you out. They're going to be highly offended. Yahusha turned to this woman and he called her a dog. He said, is it right to take the children's bread and give it to the dog? And this woman, in absolute humility, recognizing that in fact she is an outsider. So what Yahusha was saying to her was, is it right to take the children's bread and give it to an outsider? Here it is, she's coming looking to him, asking him for what belongs to the people. Remember, he made a declaration when he came. He said, I am only come to the scattered sheep of the house of Yashar'Al. I did not come to anybody else. I did not come for anyone else. I only come to the scattered sheep of the house of Yashar'Al. I came to those people who don't know who they are and who have forgotten who I am. But I only came to them to awaken them. So I'm come to nobody else but to the scattered sheep of the house of Yashar'Al. And here comes this stranger. Here comes this dog. Here comes this outsider. And she's asking for the bread that belongs to the children of the house. And so Yahusha turned to her and said, is it right for me, woman? Is it right for me to take the children's bread and give it to the dog? Is it right for me to take the children's bread and give it to an outsider? And so this woman in absolute humility said, but even the dogs eat the crumb from the master's table. She said, listen, you don't have to feed me from the table. I'm not asking for a seat at the table. Just give me the crumbs that fall from the table. That will be good enough for me. And so Yahusha was amazed at her humility, and he said, I have not seen such great belief among all of Yashar'Al. He said, I'm dealing with my own people who, they're so jacked up, but yet they're so prideful. They do not possess the level of belief that you possess. And throughout the scriptures, what we find foreigners, we find strangers from time to time who possess a far greater level of belief, even more so than the people of the house. You find dogs who possess a far greater level of belief, even more so than the people of the house. You find dogs who are willing to settle for the crumbs that fall from the table. Whereas you find people of the house who are not even satisfied with what has been placed on the table. And so this woman said, even the dogs eat the crumb from the master's table. I'm not asking you for a place at the table. I'm not asking you to serve me from what has been apportioned for the people in the house. Just give me the crumb and I'll be satisfied. You see, and so as a result, it expressed her humility. It expressed her belief in him. And so her petition was granted. Well, she was a Kalab. Okay, she was a Kalab. She was an outsider. Now, there are people, because the scripture, but let's look at the scriptures. Let's just go to it. Let's just go to the scriptures. Let's look at this and see what the scripture says. We're going to look at Kalab. So Kalab means dog, which by extension means outsider. Okay, but there's something special about dogs also, because dogs tend to be very dedicated creatures. They tend to be very protective creatures. They can be very loyal creatures. And they can be some very caring creatures. Not all dogs. But when they're loyal, they're loyal. When they're protective, they're protective. When they're caring, they're caring. You see. And so, Kalab also possesses or exemplifies some of these very special characteristics. Okay? Loyalty, protective, providing. You see what I'm saying? You know, a good dog helps to provide for his master's daily living, right? And so a good dog exemplifies all of these very very positive characteristics. Okay, and we see that in the life of Kalab. Okay, but let's look at Kalab here now. Okay, so when we read, for example, in the book of Dabarim, Numbers chapter 13 and verse 6, we see that Kalab is identified as a Yahudi. Okay, Kalab is identified in the book of Numbers, or Numbers, Bamadabar, I'm sorry, Numbers chapter 13 and verse 6, he is identified as a Yahudi. So that settles it, right? He is of the natural seed of Yashar'Al, ain't he? Because he is identified as a Yahudi, right? Wait, not so fast, not so fast. Let's slow down and let's make sure we're studying line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little and there a little. So he's identified as being of the tribe of Yahudah. Okay, let's read that. Let's read that. This is Bamadabar, Numbers chapter 13 and verse 6. From the tribe of Yahudah, Kalab, son of Yafunah. Okay, from the tribe of Yahudah. Let me just read a little bit more so you get context. Okay, and Yahuah spoke to Masha, saying, send men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the children of Yashar'Al. Send one man from each tribe of their fathers, every one a leader among them. So there you have a big clue that Kalab was actually a leader in the tribe of Yahudah. Okay, I'm going to read a little bit more again now to give us some more context. So that should settle it, right? Certainly we now see that Kalab is not an outsider. He is not a foreigner, but he is actually of the tribe of Yahudah. That should settle it, or does it settle it? Does it settle it, or doesn't it not settle it? Well, we got to go a little bit further. That's why it's important to study line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little and there a little, right? We got to search out the scriptures. Okay, so let's read on a little bit more, but let's get this to get some context. So Yahuah gave the command to Masha to get one person from each tribe, a leader from every tribe, and he wanted Masha to send out these leaders to spy out the land of Canaan. Okay, because the people were getting ready to go into the land, and Yahuah says, I want you to get 12 spies, one from every tribe, and let them be a leader in the tribe, and I want you to send them out. So among these leaders, Kalab was chosen. Okay, and by the command of Yahuah, Masha sent them from the wilderness of Paran, all of them men who were heads of the children of Yashar'Al. And these were their names. From the tribe of Rahaban, you have Shammua, son of Zakur. From the tribe of Shama'un, you have Shaphat, son of Huri. From the tribe of Yahudah, you have Kalab, son of Yafunah. From the tribe of Yatsakar, you have Yagal, son of Yusaf. And from the tribe of Ephraim, you have Husha, son of Nun. Okay, Husha, son of Nun. That's who they call Hosea, but that's not correct. That's whose name would be changed to Yahusha later on. You have Husha, son of Nun. And from the tribe of Banyaman, you have Paltai, son of Raphu. And from the tribe of Zabulun, you have Gadial, son of Sudah, Sadi. And from the tribe of Yusuf, from the tribe of Manasseh, you have Gadi or Gadai, son of Shushai. And so on. Okay? So here we see so far that Kalab is identified as a leader from the tribe of Yahudah. Okay, that's what we see so far. Okay, but hold your horses. Let's see if that's all the scriptures tells us about Kalab and his lineage. Okay. Later on in the book, in the same book, later on in the very same book, Kalab is identified as a descendant from the nation of Kenaz. In the translations, they call them Kenizzites. Okay? In the translation, they call them Kenizzites. But he is identified as a descendant from the nation of Kenaz. Now we're gonna go even further to see where Kenaz come from, who they were, and how this all ties in together. Okay, but let's look at Numbers, Bamadabar, chapter 32 and verse 12. So let's jump up to chapter 32 and look at verse 12. Remember now, so far we see that he's identified as a leader from the tribe of Yahudah. But now we go to Numbers, Bamadabar, chapter 32 and verse 12. I'm going to read from verse 10. Okay? As a matter of fact, maybe what I'll do is I'll back up a little bit to give you a little bit of context. I'll back up a little bit to give you a little bit of context as to what was going on. Okay, so let me begin from verse 1 of Numbers chapter 32. And the children of Rehoboam, the children of Gad, had much livestock, a large number. And they saw the land of Yashar'Al and the land of Galad, and saw that the place was a place of livestock. So the children of Gad and the children of Rehoboam came and spoke to Masha and to Al-Azar, the priest, and to the leaders of the congregation, saying, Atarat and Daban and Yasar and Nimrah and Hashban and Al-Allah and Sabam and Nabu and Bahan, the land which Yahuah had smitten before the congregation of Yashar'Al, is a land for livestock, and your servants have livestock. And they said, If we have found favor in your eyes, let this land be given to your servants as a possession, and do not let us pass over the Jordan. Okay? And Masha said to the children of Gad and to the children of Rehoboam, Are your brothers to go into the battle while you yourselves sit here? Now why do you discourage the heart of the children of Yashar'Al from passing over into the land which Yahuah has given them? There's a message in that right there, family. There's a message in that right there. That's not what I'm dealing with on this evening, but I just have to say this real quick. You know, we have to be careful not to be distracted by what precede the real Baraka. You see, sometimes Yahuah have something in store for us, and on the way to get it, the adversary might present something that looks very appealing. But because you have not yet seen, you have not yet encountered what it is that Yahuah has in store for you, you think that this has got to be the best there is. And so you settle for what was not really yours to begin with. For what was never intended to be yours, you settle for less. And this is a situation now where you have Gad and the tribe of Rehoboam, who they call Reuben. Here it is, they get a glance of something and they say, man, this is beautiful. We don't need to go any further. Yahuah told them to cross over. They say, we don't need to cross over. This right here is good enough for us. And so they forget the word of Yahuah, and now they wanna sell their brothers short. They're supposed to be going into battle to fight with their brothers, but because of greed, because of selfishness, because of covetousness, because of all this stuff, because of self-seekingness, because of self-centeredness, now they the first water they see, they want to drink. The first water they see, they want to drink. And you know, the fact of the matter is, you shouldn't always want to dive into the first water you see. You shouldn't always want to take a drink of the first water you see. Yesterday we talked about digging deeper, not being a surface dweller. You see, the surface dweller, the first thing that meets the eye, you want to fall head over heels with it, and then he's stuck. Won't go no further, and you miss the best of what Yahuah really intended for you. All right, so that's what's happening here. So Gad and Rahaban, they were surface dwellers, right? And so they saw this thing and they say, man, this thing is nice. We don't need to go no further. Furthermore, they're talking about fighting. If we stay right here, we ain't even got to worry about fighting. We got everything we need right here. See, these people that live here, they got cattle. We got cattle. And if they could survive here with their cattle, we can survive here with our cattle. You see? They forget the promise that I'm getting ready to take you into a place that overflows with wealth. And they were ready to settle. You see what I'm saying? Now, why do you discourage the heart, verse 7, of the children of Yashar'Al from passing over into the land which Yahuah has given them? And here's the other thing. The surface dweller, while they're not willing to press forward and to move higher, they don't want to see nobody else move higher either. So now they want to discourage the rest of the nation. Why you going about to go over there and have to go now and take up a fight against these people? Why you don't just stay right here? You see. And if everybody stay right there, pretty soon you'll realize that it simply ain't enough there for everybody. And then they're going to be the first one that's going to have a problem with everybody else. Thus your fathers did when I sent them away from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. For when they went up to the Uadi Ashkal and saw the land, they discouraged the heart of the children of Yashar'Al, so that they did not go into the land which Yahuah had given them. Then the displeasure of Yahuah burned on that day, and he swore an oath, saying, not one of the men who came up from Matzrayim, from 20 years old and above, is to see the land of which I swore to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, because they did not follow me completely, except Kalab, son of Yefunah, the man from Kanaz. They say the Kenizzite, the man from the people of Kanaz, the man from the tribe of, from the house of Kanaz. And Yahusha, not Yehoshua, not Yeshua, not Yahushua, but Yahusha. That is a misrepresentation of the name right here. Don't have enough time to dig into that right now. Just want to highlight the fact that that is not right. The name is Yahusha. Except Kalab, son of Yefunah, man of Kanaz, and Yahusha, the ban of Nun, for they have followed Yahuah completely. So here in chapter 32, we see it tells us that Kalab was from a strange nation, that he was from a foreign nation. Okay, so was he from Yehuda, the house of Yashar'Al, or was he from a foreign nation? Okay, before we can get to that and understand that, let us take a look at the book of Bereshit, Genesis chapter 15, because we want to figure out who is Kanaz then. Who is Kanaz? What relationship does Kanaz have with Yehuda, if any? Is there a relationship? Is there a connection? Is this just another name for the tribe of Yehuda? Is the Kenizzites, as they say, or Kanaz, is that just another name for the tribe of Yehuda? Or is there something else at play? Is there something else at play? All right, so let's dig a little bit deeper so we can find the answers for these questions. In Bereshit chapter 15, okay, I'm going to read from for context, I'm going to read from verse 13 for context. As a matter of, yes. Let's see. I'm going to read from verse 12 for the sake of context. And it came to be when the sun was going down and a deep sleep fell upon Abram, that see a frightening great darkness fell upon him. And he said to Abram, know for certain that your seed are to be sojourners in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them. The prophecy of the scattering of the people because of their disobedience. And shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. But the nation whom they serve, I am going to judge, and afterward let them come out with great possessions. Now, as for you, you are to go to your fathers in shalom, in peace. Stop, boys. Okay? You are to be buried at a good old age. Now, as for you, you are to go to your fathers in peace. You are to be buried at a good old age. Then in the 4th generation, they shall return here, for the crookedness of the Amari, they say Amorites, is not yet complete. And it came to be, when the sun went down, and it was dark, that see a smoking oven, and the burning torch passing between those pieces. On the same day, Yahuah made a contract with Abram, saying, I have given this land to your seed, from the river of Mitzrayim to the great river, the river Euphrates, with the they say the Kenites, with the Kenizzites, that's Kanaz, and with the Kadmonite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Raphaim, and the Amorite, and the Canaanite, and the Girgashite, and the Jebushite. I'm just going with the ites that they have. But here you see in verse 19 that Kanaz, or what they call the Kenizzites, that they were a strange people. As a matter of fact, you know who they were? They were from the descendants of Ham, not the descendants of Sham. Okay? So here it is. Kalab was actually not a descendant of Kalab was actually not a descendant of Sham. Kalab was actually a descendant of Ham, which makes him a stranger and a foreigner in Yashar'Al and to Yashar'Al. So how did a stranger, and how could a stranger and a foreigner get to such a place as to be known, as to be called a Yahudi, and not just to be called a Yahudi, but also to be a leader of the Yahudim? How could that be? How did that happen? Can that really happen? Should that really happen? Well, we got to continue to look at Yahuwah's word for those answers. Okay? We got to continue to look at Yahuwah's word for those answers. Now, there are people today who says that a foreigner, a stranger, a person who is not of the natural seed of Yashar'Al, that they will always be an outsider, and that they'll always only be a second-class citizen or a slave to the people of Yashar'Al. That Yahuwah will never see them no differently, and they can never be fully accepted into Yashar'Al. There are people out there that teaches that. But is that what the scriptures say? You see, we're not into the racial stuff. We talk about racial stuff when we're talking about injustice and wickedness, but we're not racist. You see what I'm saying? We do not serve a racist creator. Okay, so when we talk about racial hatred, we're not saying it just to pick on people. We're not saying it because we're filled with hatred. We hate We're not sick-minded. We're not simple-minded. We're not retarded like some people are. It's so retarded that we would look at somebody, and because of the color of their skin, we hate them, we dislike them, we want to do harm to them. We think that they are less than us simply because of the color of their skin. That's stupid, simple, sick, retarded people that have that kind of mentality. Okay? It is simple and stupid and sick and retarded people, severely retarded people, that have that kind of mentality. No, we do believe in speaking out against wickedness, in speaking out against racial inequality and racial injustice and racial hatred and the hypocrisy that go along with it. We believe in speaking against that and in speaking about it. But simply because we talk about the wickedness and the wicked who does it, does not mean that we are racist. You see, we do not believe in a creator that hate people because of the color of their skin. Okay? Well, why would you bother to create them if you hate them so much? Huh? He was neither one that created them. So if he was going to have such a big problem with a person because of the color of his skin, why bother to create them? But yet that's the doctrine of Christianity. Christianity says that the creator hate black people because of the color of their skin. That's what Christianity have taught ever since. It's been it's for a very long time now. It's in their books. You see what I'm saying? Judaism teaches the same thing. Okay? So, but we don't serve a racist creator. We serve a creator that deals with the heart of man. You see, that's who we serve. Okay? Now, okay, so we see that Kanaz is actually one of those nations that dwelt between Mitzrayim and Canaan. And the nations that dwelt between Mitzrayim and Canaan, they were Ham. They were the descendants of Ham. Okay, so Kalab came out of Kanaz. So that means that Kalab was not a man of Yashar'Al, and he was actually a foreigner, a stranger. So how is it that he could come, it could happen that he is then identified as a son of Yahudah and a leader of the tribe of Yahudah? How could that happen? All right, let's continue to dig a little deeper. Let's see. Let's go to. So now, Kalab was given an inheritance. Okay, he was given an inheritance, and so we're going to look at the inheritance that he was given and why he received the inheritance, because that has everything to do with why we see him identified as Yahudah. Okay, but the next scripture we're going to go to still don't explain all of it. We got to study line upon line, precept over precept, here a little, there a little, rightly applying the word of truth, right? So let's look at Yashar'Al. No, I'm sorry. Let's look at the book of Yahusha, chapter 14, verses 13 to 14. The book of Yahusha, that's what they call Joshua, but the actual name of the book is Yahusha. Let's look at the book of Yahusha, chapter 14, verses 13 to 14. And there we will see that he was given an inheritance. This foreigner, this stranger, was given an inheritance. But Yahuah didn't just pick it up and give it to him. There was a reason why he was given this inheritance. And the reason makes all the difference. All right, so let's begin reading from matter of fact, let me back up just a little bit again for context sake and read from verse 9. So Moshe swore on that day, saying, the land on which your foot has trodden is your inheritance and your children's forever, because you have followed Yahuah my Elohim completely. And now see, Yahuah has kept me alive, as he said, these 45 years since Yahuwah spoke this word to Masha, while Yashar'Al walked in the wilderness. And now, see, I am 85 years old. This is Kalab speaking. At this point, he is 85 years old, but don't let this pass you by. He said that he was a man who followed Yahuwah completely, that he was obedient to Yahuwah. Okay, not only that, he had great belief in Yahuwah. He had great trust in Yahuwah. Yet I am still as strong today as I was on the day that Masha sent me. As my strength was then, so my strength is now for battle and for going out and for coming in. And now, give me this mountain of which Yahuwah spoke in that day. For you heard in that day how the Anakim were there, and that the cities were great and walled. If Yahuwah is with me, then I shall dispossess them, as Yahuwah said. Yahusha then barak him, and gave Hebron to Kalab, son of Yefuneh, as an inheritance. So he received an inheritance among the nation of Yashar'Al. This foreigner received an inheritance among the nation of Yashar'Al. We already got the why, but he's going to tell us why again. Okay? Yahuwah is going to preserve the why for us again. Here it is. So Hebron became the inheritance of Kalab, son of Yefuneh, the Kenizzite, to this day, because he was obedient to Yahuwah Elohim. They said he followed Yahuwah. He was obedient to Yahuwah Elohim of Yashar'Al completely. Okay, so because he was obedient completely, he was grafted in, and he was counted as a tribe of Yashar'Al. That's what happens when a foreigner turns to Yahuwah in obedience. They're grafted in and they're counted as a tribe of Yashar'Al, and we're going to see that from the scriptures in a little bit. Okay, no, there is not a foreigner who turns to Yahuwah in obedience that is not then counted with the tribes of Yashar'Al. When we were in the land, the tribe to which they joined themselves to is the tribe that they're counted with. Okay, while we were in the land. Right now, none of us, until Yahuwah sorted out, none of us know really truly what tribe we belong to, until Yahuwah come back and fix that. Okay, but the stranger, the foreigner, when they turn to Yahuwah in obedience, they are joined to Yashar'Al, and they become as Yashar'Al in the eyes of Yahuwah. And we're going to see that as we continue to look at the scriptures. Now, so Kalab fought with Yashar'Al against their enemies. That's another thing. That's another thing. Any foreigner, any stranger who claim that they are a friend of Yashar'Al, but they will take sides with the enemy, and they can't see the injustices that's being done against the people of Yahuwah, and they want to justify the injustice, that one is a fraud. Get away from him and let him get away from you. Any foreigner, any stranger who come talking about they wanna serve the Elohim of Yashar'Al, but then when the rubber meets the road, when injustice is in our faces, and they want to take side with the wicked, that one is a wicked. Okay, that one is a traitor. That one is a beast. That one is a spy. That one means you no good. You get away from him. You have nothing to do with him. He ain't no good. He is a snake. You see? Any foreigner, any stranger who turn to Yahuwah in obedience throughout the scriptures, when there's a war, there's only one side they fight with. There's only one side they defend, and that is the side that Yahuwah is on, and that is the people of Yashar'Al. Throughout the scriptures, if you find a foreigner, you see police shooting down our people in the street, and then you want to sit and justify it, you are fraud, you are fake. You see what I'm saying? You a snake. Okay? You're not real. Because there is no way you can be real and see injustice and then want to justify it and then want to call yourself my brother or my friend. You're not a friend of mine. You're no friend of mine. I do not want to be a friend of yours. You see, keep on stepping. You see, I have no love for you because you have no love for my people. Okay? And that's just the way it is. Now, so Kalab, when it came time for battle, this foreigner, this stranger, there was no doubt in his mind. If there was a war against Yashar'Al and Kanaz, if there was a war against Yashar'Al and his very own nation, you know who he was going to fight with? You know who he was going to fight with? He's not going to jump ship and go fight with his lawless nation. He's going to fight with Yashar'Al. He's going to stand with Yashar'Al because he is committed to Yahuah. And you can't say you're committed to Yahuah and not be committed to the people of Yahuah. Okay? You can't say you're committed to Yahuah and not be committed to the people of Yahuah. You simply can't. You have a lot of people out there. And let me put it raw. You have a lot of white people out there. They love the name Yahuah. They don't have a problem using the name Yahuah. But they have a problem with the people of Yahuah. Yeah. They love using the name Yahuah. And they don't have a problem with the name Yahuah. But they have a problem with the people of Yahuah. I'll tell you what. They're kidding themselves. They're nothing more than the clan still. They're nothing more than the retarded, simple, stupid racists that have always pillaged and murdered and ravaged our people. They're fooling themselves. They think Yahuah is pleased with them. They're fooling themselves. Okay? So here's a lesson that we learn from a foreigner. A foreigner who is for real. A real foreigner. A real foreigner is no longer a foreigner. A foreigner who is looked upon as a son by Yahuah. This is the lesson that we learn from his life. We find that when Yashar'Al went to war, he was in the heat of the battle with them. And even when the natural seed didn't want to go into battle and didn't want to do what Yahuah commanded them to do, he was ready and saying, listen, I'm ready to go. Yahuah said it, I'm going to do it. Yahuah tell me to fight against them, I'm going to fight against them. You see what I'm saying? So Kalab fought with Yashar'Al against their enemy. He stands shoulder to shoulder with Yashar'Al, and he even led the charge. Okay? Now, that's a real brother. You see? So in Yahusha chapter 15 and verse 14, let's look at that. Yahusha chapter 15 and verse 14. Now, again, for the sake of context, I'm going to read, let me start read from verse 11. And the border went out to the side of Akron and northward. And the border went around to Shekaran and passed over to Mount Bahala and went out to Yabna'al, and the border ended at the sea. And the west border was the coastline of the great sea. This is the boundary of the children of Yehudah all around for their clans. Watch this now. And Kalab, son of Yefuneh, he gave a portion in the midst of the children of Yehudah. He was given a portion. Not that he gave a portion. This is bad translation. And Kalab, son of Yefuneh, was given a portion in the midst of the children of Yehudah, according to the command of Yahuah to Yahusha. So you see, it's bad translation. Let me read what they have there again, and it's corrupt. It's not right. What they have, they say, and Kalab, son of Yefuneh, he gave a portion in the midst of the children of Yehudah. Well, actually, it could be right. They're missing a comma. But what it should be saying, if they put the comma after the he, then yeah, it would be right. It's saying that it would be saying that Masha gave Kalab a portion in the midst of the children of Yehudah. So here is the first clue. So you see how he became to be counted with Yehudah, because he was given a portion with Yehudah. He was given a portion in the midst of the children of Yehudah. And if he's given a portion, any foreigner that is given a portion that settles in the midst of a tribe becomes that tribe, is counted as that tribe. Okay? And we're going to see even further why that is from the scriptures. And Kalab, son of Yehudah, Masha, gave a portion in the midst of the children of Yehudah according to the command of Yahuah to Yahusha. Actually, Yahusha, by this time, Masha was dead. It was Yahusha that was giving out the portions by this time. Now, Kirat Arba, that is Abran. Arba was the father of Anak. Okay? And Kalab drove, watch this now. And Kalab drove out the 3 sons of Anak from there, Shashai and Hahiman and Talmai, and the children of Anak. Guess what? These are his cousins. And he didn't go side with his cousins. He sided with Yashar'Al. And he beat them down, drove them out, his own cousins. You see? So the foreigner, if the foreigner is for real, he's going to stand with Yahuah and his people. You can't just stand with Yahuah and not stand with his people, because then you're kidding yourself. You see? You got to stand with Yahuah and his people. And Kalab did that. Okay? And Kalab said, he who smites Kirat Safar and shall capture it, to him I shall give Aksa, my daughter, as wife. Now that's not the end of it, family. But so you see now, the reason why though, but we're getting a little bit more clearer picture as we go. The reason why Kalab came to be counted as of the tribe of Yehudah was because he was given a portion with the tribe of Yehudah, and Yahuah tells us in his word that that's the way it must be. That's the way it ought to be, and so it was, and so it is. Okay, so I'm not to the end of it yet, but I want you to hear this. Any stranger who is joined to Yashar'Al is seen as Yashar'Al, is treated as Yashar'Al, is counted as Yashar'Al, and is treated no differently than Yashar'Al. We're going to see that from the scriptures. Okay? When we'll get to Yashar'Al chapter 14 in a second, Yashar'Al chapter 14 verse 1 and 2, which is the misrepresented text. Okay? So let's look at next one. Let's look at this is something that happens all the time. Okay? So remember now that Kalab, even though he was a foreigner, he became a leader of the tribe of Yehudah. But it didn't just happen with Kalab. Kalab had another man from his people, from Kanaz. Now in the translation, the way the translators translate it, the way they translate it, they make it seem like it's his blood brother, but it's not. Okay, it's not his blood brother, but he was from the people of Kanaz also. But he decided to walk in obedience, to Yahuah. And what did Yahuah do with this man? His name was Akni'al. Now, in the translation, they call him Othniel, but his name was Akni'al. Okay, they call him Othniel. Now, he was also from Kanaz. He was from the Kenizzites. And you know what? Because of his commitment to Yahuah and the people of Yahuah, because of his obedience, you know what? He also became a judge in Yashar'Al. Okay? He was not of the natural seed of Yashar'Al. He was a foreigner, but he was totally sold out and committed to Yahuah and his people. Okay? And so let's look at that. All right? Now, let's look at the book of Yahusha, chapter 15 and verse 17. We're looking at Akni'al, who they call Uthniel, or Othniel. Okay? Let's look first at Yahusha chapter 15 and verse 17. And then we're going to look a little bit more at him. Okay. And Akni'al, son of Kanaz, the brother of Kalab, not literally his brother, but from the same lineage, from the same country. Okay? And Uthni'al, son of Kanaz, the brother of Kalab, did capture it. So he gave him Aksa, his daughter, as wife. So that's the first clue right there of Akni'al. Okay? Akni'al also fought with Yashar'Al, believed with Yashar'Al, served with Yashar'Al. All right, now look what happened to him a little bit later. Look what happened with him a little bit later. Let's go to the book of Shaphatim, book of Judges. Judges chapter 3 and verse 9. Judges chapter 3 and verse 9. And when the children of Yashar'Al cried out to Yahuah, Yahuah raised up a Mashiach for the children of Yashar'Al, who saved them. Akni'al, son of Kanaz, Kalab's younger brother. Okay? So, let me give you a little bit more background in this by reading a little bit more. Okay? Judges chapter 3. And these are the nations which Yahuah left to try Yashar'Al by them, all those who had not known all the battles in Canaan, only that the generations of the children of Yashar'Al might know to teach them battle. Only those who before did not know them. 5 princes of the Philistines, and all the Canaanites, and the Zidonians, and the Kuites, and who dwelt in Mount Lebanon, from Mount Baal Harmon to the entrance of Hamath. And they were to try Yashar'Al by them, to know whether they would obey the commands of Yahuah, which he had commanded their fathers by the hand of Masha. Thus the children of Yashar'Al dwelt in the midst of the Canaanites, the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and took their daughters to be their wives, and gave their daughters to be their sons, and they served their mighty ones. That's the problem there now. There's nothing in Yahuah's word that forbid the people of Yashar'Al marrying into other nations. What Yahuah forbid is marrying to an unbeliever of another nation. And that's where the problem come in. So they marry unbelievers, and then they begin to serve the idols of the unbelievers, and that's the problem. And they begin to exchange their sons and daughters to idol worshippers, you see. Thus the children of Yashar'Al did evil in the eyes of Yahuah, and forgot Yahuah their Elohim, and served the Baals and the Asherahs. And the displeasure of Yahuah burned against Yashar'Al, and he sold them into the hand of Cushan Rish Athayim, king of Haram Naharim. And the children of Yashar'Al served Cushan Rish Athayim 8 years. And when the children of Yashar'Al cried out to Yahuah, Yahuah raised up a Mashiach for the children of Yashar'Al, who saved them. Akni'al, son of Kanaz, Kalab's younger brother. So here it is, Yahuah now raises up a committed foreigner to deliver them out of the hand of their oppressor, and he did. And Akni'al, who was not the natural born seed of Yashar'Al, became a judge in Yashar'Al. So this was something that happened from time to time with foreigners, those committed to Yahuah and his people. Okay? Now, what else does Yahuah tell us in his word that causes us to know that this foreigner, the stranger who is committed to Yahuah and his people, in the eyes of Yahuah and in the eyes of the people, should be looked at no differently or treated no differently than being a brother or a sister? What else does Yahuah tell us in his word? Let's look at the book of Shamut, Exodus chapter 12 and verse 49. Exodus chapter 12 and verse 49. There is one Torah for the native born and for the foreigner, the stranger who sojourn among you. There is only one Torah. The same Torah for the native born is the same Torah for the foreigner who sojourn among you. Yahuah does not have two different sets of laws, two different sets of behavior when it comes to the foreigner who is obedient and the homeborn who is obedient. There is only one set of instruction that governs both. And all the children of Yashar'Al did as Yahuah commanded Masha and Harun, so they did. Okay? Now, the last verse is important. And there's a reason why Yahuah was telling them this. The reason why Yahuah emphasized that there is only one Torah for the homeborn and for the stranger, for the foreigner who sojourn, who live among them, is because when they left Mitzrayim, guess what? Some foreigners left with them. Yahuah says, don't treat them no different than you treat yourself. Don't look at them no different than you look at your brother. They are committed. If they're committed to me and they're committed to you, that's your brother. And I look at them no different than the way I look at you. And it came to be on that same day that Yahuah brought the children of Yashar'Al out of the land of Mitzrayim according to their divisions. According to their divisions. So whatever tribe they were connected with coming out of Mitzrayim, that's the tribe they were going to be counted with when it comes time for the census. Okay? Now, let's see. Now you have indeed Aki. Now you have Turah. So a descendant from Ashu, a descendant from Ashu, which was not the chosen, So not from Ham, but from Ashu. Turah for that correction, Aki. Okay, so now we have let me see. Numbers chapter 15 and verse 16. Numbers chapter 15 and verse 16. Yahuah says, one Torah and one right ruling is for you and for the stranger who sojourns with you. One Torah and one right ruling is for you and for the stranger who sojourns with you. Okay? One Torah and one right ruling is for you and for the stranger. The same Torah, the same principles that applies to you also apply to the stranger that sojourn, that lives with you. Okay? Now, let's look at the fact, how Yahuah tells us that, we already see it, but let's just go somewhere else and look at this. Yahuah tells us that the stranger should be, and the stranger is counted with Yashar'Al. The foreigner is counted with Yashar'Al. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel. Yakazako. Chapter 47. Verses 21 to 23. And this is how Kalab came to be counted with the tribe of Yahudah. This is how he came to be counted with the tribe of Yahudah, because of this right here. Chapter 47, 21 through 23. And you shall divide this land among yourselves according to the tribes of Yashar'Al. And it shall be that you divide it by lot as an inheritance for yourselves, and for the strangers who sojourn in your midst, and who bear children among you. And they shall be to you as native born among the children of Yashar'Al. With you they have an inheritance in the midst of the tribe of Yashar'Al. That's very clear, right, family? That is how Kalab came to be known as of the tribe of Yahudah. Okay, I'm going to read that again. And you shall divide this land among yourselves according to the tribes of Yashar'Al. And it shall be that you divide it by lot as an inheritance for yourselves, and for the strangers who sojourn in your midst, and who bear children among you. And they shall be to you as native born among the children of Yashar'Al. With you they have an inheritance. With you they have an inheritance in the midst of the tribes of Yashar'Al. And it shall be that in whatever tribe the stranger sojourns, there you give him his inheritance, declares the sovereign Yahuah. There it is. And it shall be that in whatever tribe the stranger sojourns, there you give him his inheritance. Meaning then that he becomes a part of that tribe. Whatever applies to one in the tribe applies to all in the tribe. Okay? And it shall be that in whatever tribe the stranger sojourns, there you give him his inheritance, declares the sovereign Yahuah. You know, it is only in a racist, lawless, hateful system where you have people that treat other people as if they are people but the others aren't. Take, for example, the Dred Scott case. Dred Scott was a slave, okay? A slave who bought his freedom, and he left the South, went to Boston or somewhere, and then he wanted to purchase his wife's freedom. Somebody remind me if I'm forgetting the details. He felt he was willing to purchase his wife's freedom, but not only that, he felt like based on the law, based on the Constitution, the United States Constitution, that the Constitution gave his wife the rights to be freed. And so he went to court based on the wording of the Constitution. But when in seeking the freedom of his wife, his enslaved wife. But when he went to court based on that wording, what the United States Supreme Court told him was that the Constitution was not written for slaves, because slaves are not fully human beings. So when the Constitution says that something about inalienable right, that all men are created equal, all men did not apply to black people. That's what the Constitution says, and that's what the Supreme Court says. The Supreme Court clarifies it, says that that's not talking about black people. Therefore, you cannot come up in here expecting to use the Constitution to your defense. It's not going to work for you. It is only in a corrupt, a vile, a despicable, a heartless, and a retarded society where you will find people claiming to live by some kind of high moral and ethical standard, and yet they'll look down on other people and see them as something, people who are doing nothing more than just trying to survive, and see them as something less than themselves. Yahuah don't look at people in that way. You reckon the wicked to be what he is. You don't look at people just based on their nationality or the color of their skin or anything like that and see them any less or any different simply because of where they come from or what they look like. It is only a retarded bunch of hyenas that would do such a thing, you see. Now, let's look at another one. In the book of Yashar'Al, chapter 56, verse 6 through 7, Yahuah drive the point home some more as to what our attitude must be toward the stranger. Yashar'Al, chapter 56, verses 6 and 7. I could start a little bit earlier on and dispel some myths about this text also, but I'm not getting into that this evening because some people misrepresent this text in other ways too. But I'm not going to get into that this evening. Yashar'Al, chapter 56. Yashar'Al 56 verses 6 and 7. Let's just read that real quick and go to a few other scriptures. Also, the sons of the foreigner who join themselves to Yahuah to serve him, and to love the name of Yahuah, to be his servants, all who guard the Shabbat and not profane it. Now, this is talking about in the land here. Okay? And hold fast to my contract. Them I shall bring to my set apart mountain, and let them rejoice in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their slaughterings are accepted on my altar. For my house is called a house of prayer for who? For some people? No, for all peoples. So this is to answer the other part of the question. The other part of the question that asks if the foreigner, whether or not any foreigner will be allowed in the land. Well, you know what Yahuah says? Because the foreigner will be counted as with the tribes of Yashar'Al, the foreigner, the obedient foreigner, they will go in and worship with the tribes. Okay, let me read that again. Also, the sons of the foreigner who join themselves to Yahuah to serve him, and to love the name of Yahuah, to be his servants, all who guard the Shabbat and not profane it, and who hold fast to my contract, them I shall bring to my set apart mountain, and let them rejoice in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their slaughterings are accepted on my altar, for my house is called a house of prayer for all the peoples. All right. Is that clear there, family? Is that clear? Is that clear? Is that clear? Because you see, there's a lot of people out there teaching otherwise, but I just want to make sure we get it. That is clear. Is clear there, family? I'm checking YouTube. Aki Yahakab, Akud Sharia. Is that clear? You heard it, right? I'm checking. I want to make sure that we get it clearly. All right. It should be clear. If we're seeing, it should be clear, right? Okay. All right. Let's go to foreigners being servants. Okay, the fact of the matter is that you're going to have foreigners who are going to serve Yashar'Al. Yep. Yeah, they're going to be our slaves. That's according to the scriptures. But what foreigners? What foreigners? Yeah, they're going to be our slaves. That's according to Yahuah. That's what Yahuah says. Okay? Yeah, they're going to be our slaves. But what foreigners? Let's look at Yashar'Al chapter 60 and verse 10. That's Isaiah chapter 60 and verse 10. And the sons of foreigners shall build your walls, and their kings serve you. For in my wrath I have smitten you, but in my delight I shall have compassion on you. The sons of foreigners shall build your walls, and their kings shall serve you. For in my wrath I have smitten you, but in my delight I shall have compassion on you. And your gates shall be open continually. They are not shut day or night, to bring to you the wealth of the heathen, the Gentile heathen, and their kings in procession. So remember earlier I said that there will be a time when even the wicked will be allowed into the city, because they got to come in there to serve us, and they got to come in here to turn over their wealth. That's why you see in the book of Proverbs, in the book of Mashali, it says that the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the just. Okay, they're simply storing it up for us, and the day is coming when they're going to have to turn it over. All right. And the sons of foreigners shall build your walls, and their kings serve you. For in my wrath I have smitten you, but in my delight I shall have compassion on you, and your gates shall be open continually. They are not shut day or night, to bring you the wealth of the heathen, the wicked, the Gentiles, and their kings in procession. So who is it that's going to serve us? What foreigner is going to serve us? The heathen. The heathen, the wicked, the unbeliever. You see, the wicked that think they're so wicked. They think they're so vile and so cold and so hard. Yahuah going to break them down. They're going to come crawling. They're going to lick the dust off our boots, Yahuah says. You see. Now, let's look at 61 verses 5 and 6. Yashar'Al 61 verses 5 and 6. Yashar'Al 61 verses 5 and 6. And the stranger shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the foreigner be your plowmen and your vine dressers. But you shall be called priests of Yahuah, servants of our Elohim, shall be said of you. You shall consume the strength of the heathen and boast in their esteem. Who is going to serve us? The wicked, because the foreigner who is committed to Yahuah is no longer seen or counted as a foreigner. How is he counted and how is he seen? He is counted with the tribes of Yashar'Al. Very clear. We saw that already. He is counted with the tribes of Yashar'Al. That's what Yahuah's word says. The foreigner who fears Yahuah, who obeys Yahuah, is counted with the tribes of Yashar'Al. So this is not talking about the obedient, the one who has committed themselves to Yahuah and his people. All right, let's wrap up by going to Yashar'Al chapter 14, verses 1 and 2. Yashar'Al chapter 14, verses 1 and 2. And this is the misrepresented text. But keep in mind everything that we have covered, what Yahuah has told us about the foreigner. Because Yahuah has compassion on Yaakov and shall again choose Yashar'Al and give them rest in their own land, and the stranger shall join them, and they shall cling to the house of Yaakov. Verse 1 is talking about the stranger who has committed their way to Yahuah. The obedient stranger. shall cling to the house of Yaakov, while will become one with the house of Yaakov. Okay? The obedient stranger will be counted with the house of Yaakov, the house of Yashar'Al. And peoples shall take them and bring them to their own place. And the house of Yashar'Al shall possess them for servants and female servants in the land of Yahuah, and they shall make captives of their captors and rule over their oppressors. Obedient foreigners don't oppress the people of Yahuah. Obedient foreigners seek to help the people of Yahuah. The one that will be oppressed are the oppressors of the people of Yahuah. The one that will be enslaved are the enslavers of the people of Yahuah. Obedient people don't oppress. Obedient people don't enslave. Obedient people fight for, fight with, and defend the people of Yahuah. And so I think that it is really quite clear, even though people continue to make a mess of this stuff. I believe the scriptures really highlight and make the separation in a magnificent way. So yes, indeed, Aki. Like, our people claiming their 4th of July independence when the Constitution states it's not for us. Absolutely, absolutely. Just want to find a reason to party. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, so there it is, family. I wanted to I saw those questions and I wanted to address them on this evening. I don't know if there are any comments or any other questions before we close out. Just want to check Mashpaka if anyone have any comments or questions. Alright, if there are no comments or questions, then let me just... Yes, go ahead, Aki.
Shalom to my family and all. I just wanted to say that I think sometimes that our people feel sort of disappointed because we have been put down so much by everybody.
Yes.
Sometimes our people from the Western culture feel like since the times from slavery up until now and probably on into the future that it's kind of disheartening to know that people that have been against us, how can Father forgive them and allow them to have the best of both worlds?
Mm-hmm.
As you explained, those that who have supported us
Yes.
becomes a part of us, not the one that did.
Yes.
And I think that's what we have to understand, that Father is not fooled by anybody.
Yes.
So he knows who is and who is not his. Even though they may be outside of Yashar'Al as a native
Yes.
of Israel, but I think you explained it perfectly.
Praise Yahuah. Praise Yahuah. And to the Aki, and what you said is so on point, so true. And you know, that's the issue. Sometimes it comes from a sense of frustration when our people feel we have been done so wrong for so long. You know, and it you know, sometimes your flesh want to see, is looking for a certain kind of gratification, but you know, that's why we can't give in to the flesh and allow Yahuwah's set apartness to reign. But what you said is so true and so on point, and that's really what the issue is. I want to say shalom to our Aki Ernie St. Bernard, joining us live all the way from Trinidad. We welcome you, Aki. Shalom to you. Glad to have you with us on this evening. And praise Father Aki Yahakab and Akut Sharia. Praise Yahuah. Praise Father. Praise Yahuah, Akut Carmen. Praise Yahuah and family. Well, we're gonna prepare to close out here on this evening, Mashpaka. Let me just read what Aki Franklin wrote. Aki Franklin wrote, Shalom to you, Akut Al Yashaba, Akut Sharon, and anyone that I might have missed. I want to say shalom to you on this evening, family. The same sign of the cross that Rome now worships was used in the Babylonian mysteries. Yes, indeed. They go all the way back to Egypt. Was applied by paganism to the same magic purposes. Was honored with the same honors. That which is now called the Christian cross was originally no Christian emblem at all, but was the mystic Ptah of the Chaldean Egyptians. The true original form of the letter T, the initial of the name of Tammuz, absolutely, which in Abari radically the same means ancient Chaldee was. It's kind of jumbled, so I'm trying to separate them as I read. It was found on coins, was formed, as in number 1 on the. It ran for some reason ran jumbled there, Aki. So the longer the words get, the harder it is to kind of separate them. But yeah, so that's the cross, and you know, it's interesting in Abari. The Taw is literally means a mark, right? And I see that as maybe pointing to even the fact that the cross may very well be looked on and could be looked on as the mark of the beast. You know, a lot of people are running around looking for the mark of the beast and the image of the beast. The mark of the beast and the image of the beast is with us. The beast is a system. We live in the system. The mark of the beast is the cross. The image of the beast is who? Caesar Borgias. That image they call Jesus. You see. How do you raise your hand? Go ahead, Akut. I don't know. Yes, Serapis. Yeah. I don't know how you. I don't know quite know somewhere there. But go ahead, Akut Sharon. You could take your mic. Oh, unmute the mic, Akut.
Turah, can you hear me?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Shalom, Mashpaka. So, yeah. What you were just discussing there is brought to mind a video that I just, actually, I'm still getting through this video. I mean, in the first 6 minutes of the video, I had taken a page and a half worth of longhand notes. Extremely interesting video called The Bible and the Occult. And it discusses where all these symbols came from and all of these words like, you know, LORD, you know, and GOD, and where the cross, you know, came from, I guess, the Eucharist symbols, the sun signs, it discusses where all of that came from in this video, and it's extremely interesting. And so it just came to mind as you were talking. There are consolidated references in the form of video teaching available, you know, just in reference to what you were talking about. I wanted to ask you, Aki, So my resolution is a little blurry for your screen with text.
Oh.
And I see up here a green banner. You are viewing Machiel's screen, and then it says View Options, and the choices: original size, request remote control. I don't know what that means. Annotating, exit full screen. So it is attached. These drop down choices are attached to the banner, saying that you're viewing Machiel's screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, is there a choice here that I could click on that would improve my screen resolution? I can see the group chat very clearly,
Okay.
but the teaching slides are just a little bit lacking in resolution, in particular when you go to the scriptures. When you've got paragraphs on the page, the resolution is a little fuzzy.
Okay.
And I don't know if that is just my laptop. It can very well be my laptop, but I just wanted to ask you if you had any ideas about that.
Yeah, I'm looking now, and I'm not so sure. I that's something I'm gonna have to check into Akut. I'll investigate to see if
Now, I don't know who else in the Mashpachah, if anyone has fuzzy resolution on the teaching slides, but again, it could just be my equipment.
is anyone else having that issue, family? Okay, Akut Shar said it's clear on her hand. Akut Carmen said it's clear. Yeah, it might
Also, too, that screen you have right there,
uh,
on my end, it's teeny tiny writing in the left.
Maybe I can change that because it is tiny from my end too. But I think I could probably change that to where it's bigger. Let me see. Just trying to find it here. Okay, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of searching. What is that? Yeah. A little bit of searching to see if we can improve that Akut.
Okay, can I ask a scripture question, please?
Yes, certainly.
So there's, a lot of different stories. Who actually was King James, and who was he king of? And I will close my mic.
Yeah. All right. So, you have a King James of believe it was France, which was a black king, right? Because France was ruled by blacks at one time. And now you have individuals that teaches that the King James of England, after whom the Bible translation was named, that he was black, and it's not the same King James. The King James of England, his descendants are in England ruling right now. That's his descendants. King James, it hasn't it hasn't been that long since he ruled, and that's his descendants still ruling now. You see, so you do have this a black King James, but not the same King James that commissioned this, the translate the corruption of the scriptures. So but you have people out there who swear by that, and they live by that, and they tell you that you should only read the King James and different things like that. And really, the King James, believe it or not, the King James is one of the most corrupted translations out there. The only thing the King James does, because at the time when they translated it, they weren't concerned because black people were not allowed to read or to have a copy of the Bible. If they were found with it, they could lose their hand, they could lose a finger, and they could even lose their life. So they felt like they were ruling with tyranny, and so they weren't concerned with people learning to read. And so certain details that identify the people of the scriptures, they just left that intact. The newer translations go to the extent of removing those details, things that give you clues and not just clues but evidence of the physical appearance of the people. The newer translations go to the extent of removing those, whereas the King James translation, they didn't bother to do that, because they weren't concerned with anybody reading. They figured they had black people so scared that they didn't have to worry about that. But as time went on and black people began to read more, then they worked to hide more of that history. Yes. All right. Okay, that's I'm gonna save that link, Aki. I'm gonna save that link. Let me see if I can save it. Akut Sharia, please go ahead, Akut. I see your flag. Please go ahead, your hand. Oh, we got Aki Rob. Praise Yahuah.
Can I be heard?
Yes, Aki.
Shalom, Mr. You know, Key, that's what made Nate Turner so revolutionary, because he could read, Matt Turner, I'm sorry, that he could read, and actually the whites were obviously utilizing him to tranquilize the other slaves, and basically, work towards their end to make sure they didn't revolt.
Yes.
And then, as a result, inevitably, he saw what was transpiring, and of course, he led the 48-hour revolt.
Yes.
But it's just, it's incredible, because like you said, back in the day, slaves, were not allowed to read, but yet he was. And then, of course, the white man utilized him to tranquilize the other slaves. But getting back to the Constitution, Aki, they should have just written it out straight, that all white men are created equal.
Yes.
Because let's be candid about it. It was written by white men that had slaves, rich white men that had slaves. I'll release the mic.
Yes, indeed, Aki. Yes, indeed. And they might as well have just written it out that way. And so the Supreme Court had to come back later and clarify that that's what that meant. So, but they might as well have just written it out that way. Oh, yeah. Okay, yes, great points there, Aki. Aki Rob, and it's great hearing you, Aki. Seem like I haven't heard you in a while. All right. Anyone else, family, before we close on this evening? Any other comments or questions before we close? Let me just see here. Yes, Aki.
Shalom, Aki.
Shalom.
Shalom to everyone in the room. As you know, that's my name that I got up there. That's me.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes.
Yahoo. Okay. I was just saying that I had some trouble on this past week on Saturday when we assembled. I was trying to get on, for some reason it wouldn't let me get on, so I had to just go on to YouTube.
Okay.
But today, I had success, so I don't know if it was just, I don't know if you got to get on here right at the time because it was different from cruise, or can you get on later? I don't know. Some reason it wouldn't let it go through, but this time it did.
Okay.
I might have did something wrong. I don't know.
Maybe it's the number, because I think the number that I gave the last time was a different number.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I think the number that you were using to get on, it wasn't the correct number. So when you were able to get in, once I posted the correct number on YouTube, you were able to get in, and perhaps that's the number that you used this evening, the one that I gave you on Saturday, and so that's the number moving forward.
Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Praise Yahuah. Great to hear you, Aki. All right. Yes, and another thing, Akut Sharon had asked about the remote control thing there. That's a feature where if I wanted somebody else to host the program, or if you wanted to share your screen so that everybody else could see it, then you would take the remote control handle, in order to host the room, so to speak. Yeah, so that's what that's about, Akut. All right, well, family, once again, I want to say Turah Rabbah to you for your time and for the fellowship, and it is my hope that this time has been a barakah, that our study through Yahuwah's word on the subject, that if there was any lack of clarity, that it brought clarity, and that we are better equipped to deal with that subject matter if and when confronted. All right, so we're gonna get ready to close out on this evening, and so let us pray as we do so. Praise Father, Akut Release. Praise Yahuwah. Praise Abba. Halal Yahuwah. Father, we thank and praise you for this time, for your word that is living, active, ever true, life-changing, and renewing. We pray that you would continue to barak your people, barak us in our walk, in our search for you, Yahuwah. Feed us as only you can, and may you continue to have your way in our lives. Barak our households, Father. Barak our children and keep them. May you be esteemed at all times. Let your great name be esteemed. Halal Yahuwah. So we praise and thank you, Abba, for who you are. May you be with us throughout this week and bring us back together safe and secured once again. In Yahusha's name. Amen. One quick announcement, family. I mistakenly announced that we would be able to meet this week for Rob, but I work a rotating shift where 1 week I go in early in the morning and I work till 3:30 or so, and then the other week I go in later on in the afternoon and I get off between 10:30 and 11 at night. So this week is when I'm working the later shift, and so that would mean that I wouldn't be able to do Rob this week, so Rob would be the following week. So I want to apologize for that confusion. So Rob's not this coming Wednesday evening, it will be the following week, and so please forgive me there, family. I totally forgot about my schedule. I'm still getting used to it. All right, praise Yahuwah. Praise Father Akut. Praise Yahuwah. Well, family, love you all, appreciate you all. Turah. Love you and appreciate you all, and we're gonna prepare to close out here, and so Yahuwah willing, I'll be seeing you soon. May Yahuwah truly barak you and keep you. May he show his favor continually unto you, cause his face to shine upon you, and give you shalom. May his name, the preserving name of Yahuwah, be upon you. Allahu Yahuwah. Shalom. Shalom, family. Layla Tub to you all.